Morning, my name's Steve and welcome to the Seaside Allotment channel. And I haven't got much time today, so I'm just going to do a quick skim around, see what I've been up to. I'm actually in the middle of harvesting at the moment. New Zealand spinach, some gorgeous brassicas, so much stuff. So I've got some lovely peas here, loads of courgettes, of course, tomatoes. I've taken all the tomatoes and move them outside because it's been a bit too hot for the in the polytunnel, I think, for them, and they seem to be thriving out here, so that's good. Cucumbers are growing really nicely, I'm really pleased with those. Every single day I seem to have to clip them in. Tomatoes in here are doing well. I just started taking rooting the runners on the strawberries, and so I'm quite excited about that. This Trumpicino, I think it's called, I can't remember exactly, that's growing really well. That's up in the roof of the polytunnel now. It was down here somewhere, probably last time I did the video. This is my most advanced of the fruits, and basically when they're mature they pretty much look like that, just maybe 10 times bigger. But there's a lot of fruit on. This is the first time I've grown one of these, so it's all new to me. But yeah, really nice. And I've got two of these in the same pot, and I've also just put a cucumber in at the bottom, which is just going to trail up, climb up the this plant as its structure. And I've got some more cucumbers. There's one there, and there's one there, and these are just going to be trained all over the roof of the polytunnel structure. And I put up these new crop bars in the roof. I think this is since the last one that I did, and this was an old gazebo that we used to have in the garden, and it used to ruin the lawn, so I've not really used it very much. I've just put this plastic string up there which just holds it really nicely, so it gives me a lot more space in the roof for growing stuff. So what else is going on? Well, the early sweet corn is going really well, and I got my first silks here, and I've manually pollinated those just by snipping one of these off and just dropping the pollen all around it. So kind of like this. Show you, I just sort of break one of those off like that and just put loads of pollen all around there. Anyway, so that's kind of what I did. So I'm really pleased because last time I did a video there was no sign of any silks, so that's going well. My first pepper, I think, here, which I'm quite excited about. I've never really successfully grown peppers before. Everything here is doing pretty well, apart from this California Wonder, which looks quite kind of leggy and, you know, just not very impressive really. And I noticed that it's got a lot of pinprick holes in the leaves. I have no idea what's caused those, but all the other peppers seem to be doing quite well. I've got my next succession of tomato plants in there, so I'm quite pleased about that. And I've also got two, I don't know what are these called, Malabar spinach, which I'm going to grow in the in the polytunnel. Let's see how those go. So I've still got these brassicas, and I've left them in because I'm getting these blown sprouts on them, which are absolutely gorgeous to eat. I really love these blown sprouts, I'm quite pleased with those. And I'm also getting all these secondary croppings off the calabrese, and they're really nice as well. So just to get, if anybody likes blown sprouts like I do, you just take the tops off the sprout plant and like that, and then we get all the lone sprouts coming. They're really luscious at this time of year. One of my favourite brassicas, and you can see I've got loads of them, even though I keep eating them all the time. So really pleased with that. I think that's pretty much it. Taking loads of beetroot out of here, and carrots, everything's going well. So spinach, this is my last batch of spinach, and as you can see it looks great now, but next week it'll probably be all gone to seed. In fact, you know, I haven't even done the first pick of these, and they're already going to seed. So spinach is just a waste of time really at this time of year, but I thought I'd just get one more crop off. And it doesn't really matter because we've got so much New Zealand spinach now. So salad beds are struggling at this time of the year because it's just so dry. We're now at least 2 months in now with no significant rain, and yeah, no matter how much water you try and put on with a hose pipe or whatever, it's just can't compete with rainfall. So yeah, I've sown some extra successions of salads just to try and keep things going, but yeah, it's not easy. But beetroot seems to be surviving. These are golden beets. This is the New Zealand spinach. I've just done a harvest off here, and you can see still fantastic. It's not too bad at all. And this is my next succession of peas. And in theory, it's the next succession, but of course it's come at exactly the same time as the first succession. And these are all delicanti, and there's loads of them on here as well. I mean, we don't grow peas for the freezer, so you know, this is just plenty for us. Although we'll get harvested today. And then more New Zealand spinach, and this bed doesn't look quite so healthy. This was really hardly cropped hard last time, but you can see some of these leaves just not quite as succulent as you'd expect them to be, so not quite sure what's going on there. I've sown some carrots in here, and I'm putting this shade netting down just to keep the ground moist underneath, and you can see it works really nicely. So I've not had to water this for a few days, just until the carrots germinate. And I've done the same with beetroot as well. Purslane's still doing really nicely, and I've just opened up my carrot stroke onion bed, took the fleece off because the fleece was all ripped, so it wasn't really providing any use or function. I got my money back from Amazon because it should not have ripped in the first season after about 3 months, so I wasn't very happy about that. Well, I was happy enough because I got money back, but yeah, so I've got onions down the centre, and as you can see I'm thinning them gradually to 3 or 4 onions in a bunch. And these here are the unthinned ones, which I'll probably be thinning out some of those today. So raspberries coming on really nicely. Runner beans, not too bad. These are the alderman peas. These are my 3rd succession of alderman peas, but again, I've not even started harvesting these. They're not quite there yet, but God, the ones I've tried are so sweet. Absolutely gorgeous. Look at the size of that. I'm really happy with these. Really happy. I just need another week on them probably just to fill out, but the immature peas in here, absolutely fantastic. I just keep looping this round with string, as you can see, just to hold it for the wind. I've looped it around so many times because gosh, they do really grow strongly. But yeah, absolutely gorgeous. Whether I can actually open one of these up just to show you. Just look at that. Look at that. peas in there. Fantastic. I'll eat that in a minute. So, oh, look at these now. Really starting to heart up nicely. Very pleased with those. Cabbages starting to heart up. Savoys. And I am playing the same trick with these sprouts as well, just taking the tops out. I love the tops on their own, but as I say, I want the sprouts to come on early, and as soon as those sprouts are done, all this bed will be cleared. And again, I'm leaving the calabrese in there for the secondary shoots. Onions are starting to pick up really well as well now. I was a bit worried about those, they were a bit floppy, but not to worry. Next batch of calabrese in here. I've just started sowing my autumn stuff now, so these are cylindra, which are my favourite autumn beetroot because they're just huge, but they're really tender even though they're massive, and yeah, they just keep fantastic. We're still eating them from the store and they're just still in great condition, so really love those. And those are golden beetroot as well, and last succession of radish. I don't grow radish in the summer, so this is the last batch. Getting through the spring onions. Got loads more planted, and just put in this bed here, and I can't remember what they are. They're a beetroot anyway. So what else is going on? My outdoor tomatoes in there, doing pretty well. Got to apologise for the audio on this in advance because I've got my microphone, so I'm just doing this holding the phone in my hand. And again, just a few more beetroot in here, not very many. And what else have I got? Sorry, they were radish, not beetroot. I've just planted my sweet potatoes, and again I'm very pleased with these. Last year I made a mistake of feeding them, so I'm basically just putting them in a bed that was composted probably in, well, it was in autumn last year anyway. I just put a little bit of seaweed meal down for them, but other than that I'm just leaving them to their own devices because too much nitrogen last year meant lots of leaf growth but not enough tubers. Only a few kilograms off a bed that size. Yeah, more salad successions. As I say, it's just a nightmare trying to get the salads, good quality salads, continuous. Mare's tail. This has been the best year ever for mare's tail. Absolutely phenomenal amount of growth. I don't know what it likes about the current dry conditions, but whatever it is, it's absolutely thriving. Next batch of spring onions. Early, well, theoretically, early French beans, although not really any French beans in evidence. Plenty of flowers though. Pretty sure I was eating French beans at this time of year last year, but yeah, anyway, no sign. No spring onions, calabrese, lettuces, whatever. So each time I clear potatoes now, I am putting spare squash plants in these tubs, and I've no idea whether they're going to succeed or not, but just in a good use for the empty tubs of compost. Going to use that compost for mulching later on in the year, but yeah, they seem to be doing alright at the moment. And Debbie loves the immature squashes, so we can take immature squashes off these. And we just harvested this, but yeah, more courgettes. And we are starting to get some runner beans finally. So this is actually covered now with baby runner beans. So I'm really pleased about that. because I do love my runner beans. So I don't know how many weeks away we are now, but probably only 2 weeks away from runner beans, which is pretty good. Okay, quick zip round to the other plots and then we're done. So we're on Jennie's plot now, and as you can see, my potatoes for this week are ready. I just harvested these over the last couple of weeks, and as you can see, pop squashes in there. We always have spare squashes, well I do, because I grow spares of everything. And still got plenty of potatoes in the pots that are still to harvest over the next 2 or 3 weeks. And then we move on to the ones in the ground. And I'm hoping, so these are swift, so I'm hoping these are going to be bigger than the small salad potatoes that we've been harvesting so far. I'll show you a batch of those later on in the video. And then those are shallots, and we are growing those for baking potatoes. So again, we're hoping that those are bigger. I rubbed off some of the chits to encourage bigger potatoes. And then these are all Sarpamira and Sarpokifi. I'm getting quite a lot of damage on some of these potato leaves. These are the Sarpamiras. So I don't know whether that is blight or not, but anyway, not much you can do about it if it is. So I hate to admit it, but I have sprayed these apple trees for codling moth. We lost so much of the apple crop last year to codling moth larvae. I just couldn't bear to lose them all again, so I thought, well, I will give it a try. Requires spraying twice. Again, so last week I sprayed, and I'll spray again in about 2 weeks' time, and I'll see. Fortunately, you know, when I'm spraying, I'm not spraying onto anything else edible other than the apples. I think it's worth it, but we'll see. I don't think I'm going to drop dead from it. So anyway, I've got some leeks in here. Masses of broad beans, of course. Brassicas have nearly reached, well, they kind of have reached the tops of these frames. So I knew it was going to happen. I'll have to take these frames off soon. But they definitely serve the purpose because they are looking pretty healthy. My brassicas at home have got caterpillars. I can't see any caterpillars on these, and I have sprayed with that soil bacteria spray. It's an organic soil bacteria spray, and it definitely seems to have worked on the ones at home. When the caterpillars eat the leaves that have got the soil bacteria on them, it kills them. But the soil bacteria obviously is just a bacteria that's naturally present in the soil, so it's not harmful to humans at all. So my next succession of calabrese is nearly ready. In fact, this one here is ready. That's going to be harvested today. And then that one in a few days' time, and then that one a few days after that. And then this one, and then we're back onto my plot where the next succession is. So I'm pleased to see, got my summer broccoli as well coming up, which is really pleasing. So it's going to be a pretty fantastic brassica harvest today. And what else have we got? Well, we've got the Crown Prince. They are really starting to motor now, and I'm curling them round just by putting a stick in that just curls them, because that shoot was originally sort of off here somewhere, so I'm just gradually curling them. I've got all their watering bottles in now nearly, but I'm really pleased with the sweet corn on here as well. It's looking really great. And I didn't quite realise when I planted this how full this bed was going to end up being. navigating around it for harvesting and things is going to be quite interesting, but well, it's a nice problem to have. Yeah, when I planted it, all the plants were so small, it just looked like I had acres of space to move around. So there we go, that's Jennie's plot. And actually, before we just leave Jennie's plot, I'll just quickly show you the onions. So these are the overwintereds, and they're looking really great. Tasting good too. We are getting a few running to seed, but they're always the tiny ones, not the big ones. So it's not such of an issue. And the garlic, look at this. Debbie thought this garlic was onions. It's massive. Absolutely huge. We've got loads of it. And of course all this bed is garlic pretty much now, apart from those few onions. So absolutely pleasing to see. And we're done. So we've just arrived at Debbie's plot. And really the highlight for me on this plot at the moment is this kale. I've just harvested it, but it's looking beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So red scarlet, I think, something like that. Found a few caterpillars on it this morning, the stuff that's not netted, but taking those off. The bed's looking great. Some more New Zealand spinach here, some celery. I've got some more celery to plant in the polytunnel, and we just popped some, or Debbie popped some winter brassicas in here. So we've got some purple sprouting broccoli down there, we've got some kale and a colette in the middle. Just starting to get some colour on the currants, which is always nice. Pears are coming on really well. What else have we got? Yeah, just broad beans going on okay. We just popped the last of the outdoor sweet corn in here, so we should have a really nice succession. And then I'm going to pop some more, actually plant some sweet corn seeds that will end up in the polytunnel, and that'll be the last crop sometime in September, hopefully. Yeah, some more broad beans. So it's all looking pretty good. Okay, so I'll come back a bit later on, show you the harvest. For Jason was I had some Self-sufficiency left and nowhere to plant them, so I thought I'll stick them in some of these potato polythene bags. Absolutely impossible to keep these bags watered enough. So absolutely dry as a bone, and this plant, as you can see, is really sickly. So that doesn't work. So if anyone's interested, that's what a Self-sufficiency harvest looks like. 2 months early. I don't know whether they're edible, but pretty much a waste of time other than the learning experience. So there's another one for you, Jason. I'm going to now harvest a couple, well, just one plant. This is a Charlotte, grown in tubs, unfortunately. A few of them got a bit too close to the surface, so another failure there. I always harvest into a wheelbarrow, and that's by far the most effective way. So I'll come back to the potatoes in a minute, but I've just harvested this calabrese and this summer purple broccoli, and I'm really pleased to see that already there's quite a nice selection of mini broccoli heads coming, so yeah, so that should be good. This is the harvest so far. So we've got some potatoes, a bit of garlic, a bit more garlic, some beets, turnips, broad beans, onions, calabrese, and some purple broccoli. So that's the harvest off Jennie's plot. And I know some people will be saying, oh, I should have left those potatoes in longer, you know, they're too small, etc, etc. But the thing is, that's the thing with successional sowing. There's no point leaving them in longer because I'll have way too many next week, and I've got people to feed this week, so you know, they just have small potatoes this week. So anyway, and that's it. Successional sowing, that's what you have to do. Painful sometimes, but onto my plot. Okay, so onto my plot now. So I picked some peas, some courgettes, some cucumbers, and then there's the brassicas. So lots of nice brassica mixes there. And now we're on to the salads. So there we go. 4 nice New Zealand spinach mixes. Okay, so we're kind of done. So I've just done the lettuces. And that's today's harvest. So I'm pretty pleased with that. I just got to add the spring onions and the carrots and the radishes and the rhubarb and a few bits and pieces like that. Okay, and there we go. I think I'll call it a day at that. So there's the baby carrots for the salad mix and the spring onions. That is a pretty nice bunch of spring onions there. Again, for the salad mixes. Alright, see you soon. Oh, there you go. There it is, all boxed up and ready to go.